This has been something we've all done. Remember, I did it. Oh, here we go. We got MGTOW Absolute Knowledge, MGTOW Life. Good to see you, brother. Love the motorcycle. Love the saddlebag in the back. Great looking saddlebag. Matt's in the house. Good to have you. I wanted to do something early for the European guys because I get emails saying if I could do a earlier one because it's midnight by the time we do it out there. So I figure that's where it's at. Today's a slow day for work. What better opportunity than to talk to my brothers about life and hear from them and their examples and how they're leading an amazing life. So that's where we're at today. But I wanted to bring up something. My son just texted me. I wanted to bring up something I was thinking about today about why men constantly make excuses for her bad behavior. And we've all been there. Spike's in the house. Good to see you. MGTOW Life. I'm waiting for my home health care nurse to unplug me, so I thought I'd check in. Awesome, brother. Hope you're doing well. We're going to try and get something going down there in California. Maybe August, September, October or something with a couple guys. So we'll keep everyone up to snuff about when men make excuses for her bad behavior and what is the fading effect bias. If people really understand what the fading effect bias, it's actually a term in psychology. And the fading effect bias is this. Within 12 hours of, let's say you have a big fight, breakup, you hate each other, you're angry. Within 12 hours, your brain will now begin to remove the negative aspects. Typically, within 12 hours, it starts to begin of that issue. So let's say your lady comes home and monkey branches, you find out, you get angry, you break up. Well, and you can't stand her, you never want to see her again. And then 12 to 24 hours later, you start missing her and feeling, like you want to make it work again. That is called the fading effect bias. It's very, very dangerous, and one should even understand what it is. It typically starts about 12 hours. Sometimes it might take 3 months. That is why women typically come back to relationships that they broke up with because they begin to forget the negatives. Same thing happens in the political world. Think about that. We forget negative things that past presidents and people have done. Same sort of psychology. The brain tends to go back to positive areas of life so it doesn't have to deal with the negative areas. That's just how we're wired. Akash Patil from India. Feminism has reached here too. Traditions are long gone. Yeah, that is so crazy because you would think India would have very deep relationships. My local Indian motorcycle dealer just texted me. Parts have come in, most likely the engine guard I spoke of in my last video. Yeah, you did mention that. I want that Indian Scout 60 bobber. Oh, I think that's great. Probably with that saddlebag you have. Matt Downer, you shouldn't cover for her because her bad behavior is her responsibility. Well said. E-Man67 dropped a video. Be careful, gents. Women and their love is transactional. I would agree with that. And opportunistics. Tell Life, dropping the truth. Jerry C. Hi, just recently came across your channel. Great content. Great to have you, Jerry. Tell me where you're from. I'll probably remember it. MGTOW Life's in California. Men, do what Raj just said. We forget negative things. Women place less value in the negatives, and women know this. Lisa from Kansas City making an appearance. Good to see you, Lisa. The reality is this. Men will excuse bad behavior. A buddy of mine called me at 10 o'clock this morning. He's 60 years old, one of my good friends. Our daughters were the same age in gymnastics years ago. He got married, got divorced from the first wife, married a second gal, was married 4 years, and then the kids couldn't get together and work it out. So they split up the houses. They were married in 2 separate houses. It was really weird. They try to make it. They finally get divorced. 30 days after the divorce, they start dating each other again, thinking it'll be better. That goes on for 2 years. Then she breaks up with him. He's all hurt. And then she comes back 6 months later, says she's all healed. This was a year ago. He calls me today and said, it's over. And I said, let me guess. It's the same issues that have popped up over and over for the last 15 years. She goes, absolutely. So, guys, he was willing to take her back. The fading effect bias came in. I said, Jim, you keep excusing her bad behavior. You can't do that anymore. And it goes for women too. If there's a douchebag dude and you keep making excuses for his bad behavior, it's the same thing. We tend, and I did it with my wife. I remember thinking to myself, oh my gosh, this is my fault. She was monkey branching emotionally. If only I would have been a better person, she wouldn't have done this. If only I would have said this. Only I would have taken her here. And I was making excuses for her bad behavior because the fading effect bias makes us go back to the baseline positive aspects of the relationship, negating the negative things that happen, which are the foundations of the cracked foundation. It's as simple as that. I'm in Northeast Missouri. Now, is that over by Kirksville? We got Lisa in the house. She's from Kansas City. Is Kansas City on the east, right? MGTOW Live. Excuse bad behavior. It's what men do. Don't be that guy. Don't be that gump, right? As Greg Adams talks about. And we do. I've got friends who literally that continually excuse her monkey branching. And they self-deprecate themselves. Oh, I should have been a better dude. She wouldn't have done that. I should have been a better dude and she wouldn't have done that. Come on. Really? Long-term effects, says John Galt. My 65-year-old neighbor caretaker for hypochondriac wife as she berates him. He makes excuses and remains subservient. Horrifying lifestyle. That's exactly, John Galt, how my father-in-law was. Always made excuses for his wife that treated him like garbage in front of everyone. Put him down in front of the kids, neighbors, church members, you name it. Isn't that funny? Good to see you, Manoj Roy, all the way from Mumbai. He had a question about Kevin Samuels today. Even though I don't watch a lot of his stuff, would you all think that Kevin Samuels is purple pill? He wants women to go back to the traditional roles of femininity. John Boston is in the house, making an appearance all the way from Boston. My ex still does her bad behavior, and it's not excused. Glad I don't live with her. Correct. Correcto mundo. Too many weak men in this country, says the TC in 2000. Most were taught to kiss a woman's behind. And excuse. Most men self-deprecate themselves, blaming them for her bad behavior. And that's what people do. Again, it's also linked to the fading effect bias. If you don't check her bad behavior, she will do it again and again and again. Well said, Akash. Now, Manoj is in Mumbai. Where are you from? Lux Boss, I'm halfway asleep, but I'm here. Always good to have you, brother. Always good. Make an appearance all the way over the pond. If a woman behaves bad, walk away. Do you think her behavior will be different? You can only fix a woman's behavior in the very beginning of her life. I think it's up to age 7. There are some good women out there, but we tend as men to excuse their bad behavior. We excuse their disrespect for us. We blame ourselves. That's wrong. We should not blame ourselves. We should not excuse anyone's bad behavior, men or women. But that's what we do. AI Transformed in the house. Good to see you, brother. Hello from Boston. Gump's out here skimping for green-haired feminists with bull rings. I saw this. And a lot of them are now polyamorous and open relationships. You know why they say that? Because they can't get a dude. So now they act like they're wanted and have all these options. It's so easy. It's like the easiest thing to realize. Kansas City is western Missouri, eastern Kansas. Gotcha. That's how much I know about Missouri. They call it misery, I guess, sometimes, right? My brother went to medical school in Kirksville. But we are asked and convinced by society to accept her bad behavior. What about it then? We are. Manoj Roy. A lot of times we're apt to accept it because maybe it was during their period or cycle. Maybe it was an emotional piece. Maybe it was during menopause. Maybe it was because there was just difficulties. But regardless, men and women should not tolerate bad behavior on both sides, right? Kirksville isn't far away. I live in Memphis. Love Memphis. Went to Sun Studios. Love that place. Went to Elvis's high school and went to Graceland, although Graceland's a shit show. I could not believe what's across the street. Elvis's plane looks like somebody painted it with like interior house paint. Looks horrible. Timmy Kramer, just packed my cooler, heading to Prescott to golf this afternoon. We'll grab dinner and stay the night in cool temps. Attaboy. Attaboy. Putting some good grub in the cooler. Timmy just turned 56. Shout out to Timmy. Men will learn the biggest put down that will hit you is when you are in family court. The bad behavior leads to being sued. Isn't that interesting? Absolutely. The bad behavior does not stop there. In fact, it doesn't even stop during court or after court. Well said. Well said, John. Tried to kiss a gal, gave me all the signals on our date. She burst out laughing, really pissed me off. Now, you're not the only one that happens to. But, don't let that rejection, stop you. Never, ever let the rejection stop you. You're a strong man. Women have become the aggressors with their bad behavior. They think they should be needed 24/7. No man should ever endure that kind of torture. But we accept it. We allow it. And there's a lot of women that allow bad behavior on the man's side. And, that was probably one of the biggest lessons I ever learned when I was going through what my situation was. My buddy said, you know what? You got to quit accepting her bad behavior. You got to quit excusing it. Like, you keep blaming yourself. And that's what men do. I got a really good friend I've talked about. His wife has cheated on him multiple times. He keeps taking her back. He keeps excusing it, but saying he should be better. You never, ever give the opportunity to a woman to make those decisions and then take all of the blame on yourself. It's as simple as that. Each person has their issues. But if we keep excusing the bad behavior continues. And we don't get anywhere. Memphis, Missouri. Gotcha. I didn't know there was a Memphis, Missouri. But there is a Moscow, Idaho. I think we need to bring back patriarchy. Women empowerment is spoiling civilizations anyways. I think lack of traditional values is destroying society, Akash, but I would agree with that. And the lack of traditional values is the rise of masculine women and feminine men. Simple as that. Weak men are liberals, strong men are conservative. As simple as that. I was going to make a video about that too. A man that votes liberal is a weak man, most likely raised by a feminine man or a weak man in the house or a feminist or a single mother. A strong man is raised by a strong father figure that teaches him quite a ton of value, right? Teaches him how to build, to use his head, to create, to not blame. We don't blame. We take accountability for our lives and ourselves, and that is a strong man. A weak man blames everybody else and plays victim card. And there's more and more of these Mitches everywhere, says North South. I'm out here hiking in the deep woods with plenty of snacks for energy. Do you have Gorp? Remember that? Gorp? Who knows what Gorp is? G-O-R-P. What's up, Rad? Says Carl. We're in a sad state when in society you're now judged solely based on the lack of melanin in your skin or the inability to call a woman out for her poor behavior. Correcto mundo. Correcto mundo. You know what's funny? I was talking to someone, got a friend that's black, and he's like, well, we had talked about our skin colors. I go, I could care less. We're all men. We all have the same operating system. And I said, besides, I'd love to be black. I would get no wrinkles. And And I think skin cancer rate is almost non-existent. I mean, there's downfalls of having the skin color I have. So, and they look great in their 70s and 80s. I mean, look at, Denzel Washington and who's the guy? Samuel Jackson. Those guys are almost 70. They look great. Like, it's just ridiculous. There is no color, race, religion, country. We're all men. We all stand together. We all help each other maneuver life. But you're right, Carl. You're absolutely right. There it is. Mitch is right there from north south. Women go to divorce events hosted by local divorce attorneys, and they do this on Zoom meetings. These women are terrible mothers and wives most of the time, seeking the bigger and better option. The smoothie for athletes, Gorp. Good, there he goes, Matt Downer gets it. And some M&Ms. Used to eat those in Boy Scouts. Gorp. We'd have a whole bag of peanuts, raisins, almonds, almond slices, M&Ms. Oh, that was the best. It's great for hikes. How many miles you doing, Matt? What if someone spoils your life for no reason? Who will you blame and complain? Well, it's a decision that you made to allow someone in your life. So we'd have to take the ownership back on us. And that's the reality. If we blame anybody else, we're weak. Now, there was a time in my life where I was very angry at the ex. And I wanted to blame her. And finally, I quit blaming her. I said, you know what? Took us both. We're both part of the problem. Didn't work. I experienced female nature. She experienced male nature. And it's as simple as that. Constantly blaming only fuels the fire for more bad behavior. It's only when we work on ourselves and really accept our lot in life when we can move forward, regardless of what has happened. We rebel against defeat. It's as simple as that. Reality in society today, women are just as strong or stronger, and the only way for a man to win is not play the game. Putting yourself in the crosshairs is her goal, and then she pulls the trigger in court. She pulls for 98% of them. Yes, she does. It is a game. It is a game plan. There is a playbook. As John Boston said, they're having divorce seminars, like probably at the local Denny's, as if you were buying annuities or insurance products from some insurance salesman. This is where we're going, guys. We have to be very, very careful. What if someone spoils your life for no reason? Whom would you complain then? Well, it'd be hard to not blame someone, but you'd have to take the ownership back on you and say, you know what, for some reason, somehow I'm in this situation, but now you can decide from here on out which way you're going. You can assign blame, or you can assign responsibility and accountability for yourself to have a better life. Carl, I wish Thomas Sowell would run for the nation's diversity czar under Trump in 2024. There you go. Democrats play the race card, started long ago, and it's a spin on an old strategy. Jesse Lee Peterson will tell you. And Jesse Lee Peterson was raised, and he was a very staunch liberal in his beginning life. I think he was raised by a single mother too. And look how he's come. Coach Greg Adams was raised by a single mother. You know, there are opportunities to get out of that thinking, but you're absolutely right. There is a card that people are playing. Lisa Smith, my brother used to do what his ex-wife, she's now deceased, but she had some shining moments of totally asinine behavior. He just excused it. That made me mad. He wouldn't put her in check. And it happens a lot, Lisa. It happens a lot. My brother is a prime example for allowing his ex-wife and his current wife to exhibit. She gets the gold medal in the bad behavior Olympics. And she's been undefeated for years. Even Morgan Freeman, oh, he looks great. You know who else looks great? Sammy Hagar, 74 years old. He just had a great life. Look him up. There's a meme with him and Bill Clinton, same age. Look at Sammy Hagar. But anyhow, that's where we're at. Go on with your life. Get up, rebound, get stronger, says John Galt. Words of wisdom right there, gents. Words of wisdom. 5 to 10 miles at the most. Kind of gives you an adrenaline rush. That'll take you, what, hour and a half, 2 hours? Good for you, brother. Women drive like dog shit, says Post-Wall Thoughts want a simp. Exactly. They've already been ran through. The thought that the thoughtocracy is not going to end well. The thoughtocracy. A lot of born-again virgins in the next 5 to 10 years, guys. A lot of born-again virgins. Watch out. Juara, Sugar Baby called after coming back from Rich Man's Yacht, but I didn't answer. I would not answer her. Remember, she's going to bounce for the next bigger and better option. You got respect for yourself, Juara. Barely Good Tennis. Hey, Rad and all. Happy to be here, living single, happy, and most importantly, free. And you're living in your brain for accountability that your life is what you make of it, not what somebody else did to you or wants you to do. That is the true thinking of the pill of red. When you take accountability 100% and you decide what direction you're going, by understanding female nature, by understanding relationships, by understanding the conditioning of society, you now have the choice to pull the trigger. Well said, Barely Good Tennis. Sal was a Marxist until he worked for government. Thomas Sal. Keep stacking cash, gents, and plan your exit. Go where you're treated best, and for most men, it's not the U.S. Well, the courts have shown us that we're not treated well. It's not hidden. It is transparent. Even in commercials. Remember Gillette? Men are toxic. Hot Sugar Baby thinks she's Earth's princess. Remember, she has an expiration date too. So under the covers, she's expiring every day, quicker and quicker and quicker. Stay vigilant, Jawara. I was pushed by my father in a scam institution. He convinced me that what is happening with you is right and you deserve this. My life was ruined because of this decision. Your life is not ruined, Minaj. Your life might have taken a detour, but now you're old enough and young enough to make your life successful. Giving that situation power will take the current power away from you. So decide right now that you will be abundant and successful, and you will become that. Besides, the Indian Vedas say the same thing. I learned it early that I need to take my own decision. I took control. There you go. Perfect. Love it. I worked for an NGO as men's rights activist, not to mention its name, but was expelled from that institution for teaching men red pill knowledge and female psychology. Heights of simping here in India. It's just not in India. It's everywhere, guys. Gents, you do you, forget the rest. Well said, Miktowski. Don't complicate things. Look at things like you're advising your son. Is it good for him? Then proceed. If not, be polite but firm and move on. Adios. Great words of wisdom from the great Miktowski. You guys do you. That is the key. We navigate life by what our decisions will bear. Simple as that. The born-again virgin, that's only until Chad and Tyrone show up again. Then they go back to their delusion that hit-and-run games don't count. She's still a virgin. 100% right. 100% right. Samuel Makumi, thank you for your content. Changing lives from Kenya. Wow. Tell us how the women in Kenya are, Samuel, and good to have you. This is where you pivot and start anew. I would agree. And I think he is. Over 50% of younger, hotter women are out sugaring, according to the article Coach Greg read. There's got to be a ton of competition by now. Now, I just heard OnlyFans we're going to remove adult content. So where will these monster thoughts go? Where will the monster thoughts go when OnlyFans shut down? You better believe something else is going to pop up. But there's too much competition now. There's too many blonde women with fake eyelashes doing the exact same thing on OnlyFans as every other woman. Ascended Chip, MGTOW from India. Wow, we got some good quite a appearance from Indians in here. We got Ascended Chimp. We've got let's see what we got. Akash. We got Manoj Roy. Who else we got? It's just crazy because India, to me, just seems like the last place on earth that would be traditional with everything. Rad, how do you deal with the workforce now being so polarized where optics are more important than optics? Wish I'd gone self-employed a decade ago. You got to be very careful in the workforce. That's for damn sure. And now it's been exchanged from in-office meetings to Zoom meetings. You know, it's interesting. Very interesting comment too, Carl, but very well said. Gary, you're saving lives, Rad. Well, I hope we're all saving each other's. We're all learning what it's like in the real world from all different areas of the globe. We're hearing from Kenya and India and England and Canada and Mexico that we're experiencing the same issues, right? Red Mind Man in the house, hello to you. Jefe Salcero, hello to you, brother. It's my rule number one, look out for yourself because no one else will. Ain't that the truth? The only validation you need is your internal validation. I am strong. I am abundant. Never ever say whatever follows I am will become true for you. If you say I am rejected because that woman didn't kiss me, Garrett, you say I am the prize and this gal did not see the value. Beat it. Simple as that. Move on. There's 7 billion people on this planet. In Ireland, a girl uses OnlyFans, was found out by her grandmother. Her grandmother banned her from a family reunion. Wow. That grandmother has morals. Whereas most mothers today do not, especially where I live. I'm finding difficulty in teaching my niece painting. She is interested in learning, but she is very mischievous. I am not able to handle her. Any suggestion, guys? Just put your boundaries down. And literally, line upon line, precept upon precept is how you teach. This is how we do it. Today, for the first 10 minutes, we're going to draw whatever you're teaching her. We're going to learn this. Keep it very, very direct would be my suggestion. You should try Iceland sometime. I hear the hot springs are excellent. I would love to go to Iceland. The Sugar Cubes in Bjork and Sigaruz is from Iceland. Pretty cool music. You're often at a disadvantage when interviewing for a corporate job these days as a straight white, and you might interject, Christian male. But we're all white, angry Christian males. Or Christian males. Angry males. You're right, Jefe Salcera. A brother was deleted in Ecuador, set up by a foreign gal. Guys, you got to be careful out there. It's as simple as that. If you're seeking and chasing a woman, you have the potential of calamity down the road. Does that make sense? Calamity could be an emotional breakup, rejection, monkey branching, female nature, hypergamy, draining your income, draining your mental faculties. The biggest bank account you have is right here. If that bank account is depleted or depleting because you're being treated like shit, you're being disrespected, that's very difficult to build up again. You understand that? It's easy to build up dollars and cents, but when it comes to real sense, it's tough when you've been depleted, when you've been stepped on, when you've been walked upon, when you've been disrespected, when there's been disloyalty, when you've been treated like garbage. This is very difficult to build up. We've all been there. So the reality is this: you have to take this knowledge in every single day. And you have to remember, we're here to help each other become better and bigger and better versions of ourselves. It's not easy. I just don't do these videos for you guys. I do them for me, to remind me of what I know and what I've been through, which is to put myself, my boys and my kids first, and then go after my heart's desire. Understanding the obstacles and the pitfalls along the way, which could be a woman or a relationship, which could be a bad career decision, which could be saying no, saying yes to things I really want to say no to, with putting other people, giving my power away to people like family members or coworkers. This is why we're here, to learn from each other. David Castro in the house, good to see you, brother. No traditions left. Culture for women here has reduced to traditional outfits and Instagram selfies. Muslim countries will be the only place where I think we will find quality women. Interesting, Akash. You would think that the scribes of India or the religious men would be leading, or the gurus would be warning, holding a beacon up sign saying, red alert, society's crumbling, no more thottery, no more, Instagram selfies. It's just crazy where the society has taken it. Bjork was her best with the Sugar Cube, says Jawara. My man remembers the Sugar Cubes. Motor Crash was my favorite song by the Sugar Cubes. Good for you. Calamity Jane is a thing. Truth Bowl left in the house. Good to see you. Cheers to you, brother. After finding the MGTOW conversation with girl, don't feel the same. There are no butterflies. Ascendant Chip, the Indian, says some very solid wisdom. There are no butterflies. Ain't that the truth? Well said. WWE just hired a black girl as the new creative writer who openly admits she knows nothing about wrestling and never watches. Only got the job because she is a female. Well, we're seeing that in all industries. We're seeing that in all industries. Now, I'm not saying 100% of women can't do the job, but there's a small percentage that might be able to. But in this case, it sounds like it was a complete societal shift with just because she was female and the color of her skin, which that was not what Martin Luther King talked about. Martin Luther King talked about the merit. If you're better than this person, you should get the job, regardless of race, creed, you name it. White males are vilified as being angry because they can't handle changes to society, when in reality, we're just angry at the double standards and hypocrisy of a Marxist socialist left. Truth, Carl. Absolute truth. There will be a lot more homeless women when the rent moratorium ends at the end of July. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see. Although there's probably going to be another bailout, Lisa. They'll probably keep extending it. But I think you're right. I think you're damn right. Who goes for jobs these days? People go for business. I have many friends of mine have offices around the world, from New York, Canada, London, Hong Kong, Dubai. As long as they're seeking excellence. A lot of rich guys out there that are still blue-pilled. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, still seeking the attention of women. Good morning, Rad from NorCal, says Black Pill Neo. I've been hitting the gym since the dry sauna opened back up, feeling better. Do you enjoy? I love saunas. I ride them after I ride in Park City. I go to the Hyatt and hit the sauna for 15 to 20 minutes. It is the best. Take a cold shower, get back in for 10 minutes, and I feel amazing. What part of NorCal are you from? My dad's from the Sacramento area, specifically Yuba City. These run through spinsters will run to the government. The battle versus communism is going to escalate. Oh, we haven't seen anything yet, John Galt. We have not seen anything yet, people. Again, get your lives in order. Get your head right. Your mental bank account needs to be strong. I would work on that bank account every single day possible. By just accepting yourself, by building, your self-worth and your self-concept. And from there, everything will fall together. If this is not right, if this is not strong, everything else will fall apart. Doesn't matter how much money you have. You got to be smart up top. I think men make excuses for bad behavior because when in a relationship, we feel as we are one. We lose objectivity and our individuality along the way. Well said, Bo Left. Well said. I think you're right. We excuse the bad behavior because we believe we're one. And we're going to take accountability and responsibility for her, even though we continue to do it and then we continue to suffer. It's just a gigantic loop of constant chaos and frustration if we do that. If your lady cheats on you one time, or if the man cheats on you, kick them to the curb and never go back. Why does anybody think it would get better? Not even in Muslim countries, the society over there even say men by stating men having bad pedigrees encourage gold digging for women. Yeah, you might be right. The fake vice president got her job because she was a female and had dark lady parts, while Christian men need not apply for anything. And she was wonderful laying on her back. My father-in-law used to say that. She's very good at laying on her back. But yeah, she slept her way to the top, guys. Make no mistake about it. She brings no value or credence to her position. NBA pushing for female head coaches. What happens when it comes 10 seconds down, it's tied, the championship is on the line, and emotion versus logic sets in? Enough said. Cold showers are great, thanks to Wim Hof. Love Wim Hof. Wim Hof is amazing. Anybody know about Wim Hof? How he basically was injected with a virus and healed himself? This guy climbed, halfway up Everest in shorts and that's it. No shoes. Guy is absolutely amazing how he can control his mental bank account. Right here, guys. What is your opinion, sir, on controlling and dominating women, same as the ancients, like divorce was a social shame for women? I don't think you really would need to dominate a woman if there was traditional femininity. In other words, if the woman knew which lane to stay in and what her position was, there wouldn't have to be domination. There would be complete respect on both sides. So I'm not a big fan of making a woman barefoot and pregnant and submissive in the corner. I'm a fan of traditional femininity and masculinity, which is the man is the protector and provider and the woman's the nurturer. So if that was said, to dominate someone, you don't want to dominate anybody. That's just, in reality, will eventually backfire. But mutual respect through understanding traditional roles is what I'm all about. But good question, Akash. I live in Sacramento, Fat City. I love and when we first moved there, we first got married, we were there in 98, and they just banned smoking in all of the clubs. There was a band out of Davis, California called Beatrice 9. Saw them downtown in a club. Great music. Love Sacramento. We actually lived, Black Pill Neo, in Folsom, Granite Bay and Roseville when we first got married. We moved down there for Intel. Used to drive across the Folsom Dam till my BMW, my little 3 Series, broke down. Hey, Rad, at what age this biological need for having sex diminish? I don't think it ever goes away. I think you're going to have that need forever. Guys in their 70s in certain countries of the world are still impregnating women. I think what might be the issue is testosterone would diminish because of the bad foods and the environment and the pollution and things like that. But you're always going to have the drive. You're 23. You're a youngster. That's good for you. You keep listening to these channels. Creepy Joe Biden will extend it. Absolutely. He'll probably extend it his whole presidency. Women with no dependents are sick of taxes, bailing out single parents as well. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? See you later, John. You stay strong too, brother. Good to have you. We're living in a best time. We know the truth. Now we can focus on our life and goals. Very well said, Manoj. Very well said. No group of men ever have looked at a task and said, we need a woman to lead us. Female NBA, LOL. Guys, why don't they just lead the WNBA? I mean, why? Because they want to break boundaries. They want to break what up. You know what I'm saying? That's why. What a small world, Rad. I have extended family in Yuba City. My dad grew up right on the outskirts of Yuba City and Gridley. And remember, the highway from the Sacramento airport to Yuba City is called Punjab Highway. It's not. There's a lot of Indians that actually settled in that area 60, 70 years ago. They run a lot of the rice farms. But Punjab Highway is the name of that highway going into Yuba City. How much backlash do you get for being a black conservative and red pill man? To Jawara. Jawara writes textbooks. That guy, he's one smart guy. And I'm still waiting on that textbook on frame. Let's see. What's your supplement stack at 40? DHEA, magnesium, super B complex, apple cider vinegar. That's it. Making excuses for bad behavior, I think men do it for a variety of reasons, but it's damage control, cognitive dissonance, or the protector instinct being misguided. I think you just said the right word. Cognitive dissonance is the reason for the bad behavior. We see one thing and we look the other way. Well said, Red Mind Man. Cognitive dissonance. I haven't heard that for a while. See you later, brother. Be safe out there. Female nature is female nature, says Park Ridge. The difference today is that they get rewarded for their bad behavior without any checks or balances, and hence the cycle continues. Even women who have douchebag husbands allow that behavior to keep happening. It's a cognitive dissonance piece. Well said, Park Ridge. It'd be hard to be a young man today knowing female nature, but on the other hand, if I knew what I wish I had known 20 years ago, some days I want to jump in that time machine. And if you get in one, pick me up, please. Once every man on this planet takes a red pill, women will be begging for attention, even in their prime. But one should always take their daily pills because it's easy to forget, because the fading bias effect is always prevalent. The fading bias effect. That is when our brain goes back to basically eliminating the garbage, focusing on the good stuff. And that is why women come back a year or 2 years later, because they begin to forget the negative and they go back to what they know. Same as men. Men will excuse the worst behavior because the fading effect bias is so prevalent. And guys, Google it. If you really want to understand why people take back cheaters and exes and allow this behavior, that's one of the biggest reasons. We tend to forget, and it happens in politics. It happens with family quarrels, you name it. John Boston, if women want to be like men, go work as an iron worker, pipe fitter, or auto mechanic. They want the corner office for companies they didn't start. A lot of them go into human resources as well. Now, when my roof was just done a couple weeks ago, great crew, Hispanic crew, his father with his 4 sons, amazing workers, I paid them very well. Just wonderful guys, kicked ass in the hot weather. And I saw no female on my roof. It's a 3-story roof. You're right, John. Rad, do you take vitamin D? You know what? I try to get vitamin D either from the sun right now or through food. But D is very good too. Marcella N is in the house all the way from Utah County. I got my Maverick today. In respect to you, glad to have you, Marcella, as always. Can someone fully explain red pill? Red pill is this: the awareness that you did not put yourself first. That is it. Knowing that if you live the red pill awareness is you put yourself first, not a relationship, not a woman, not a career, but yourself first. That is truly when you've been awoken to the red pill. And the red pill is being awoke by a situation in your life. Maybe you were betrayed by a family member. Maybe your ex divorced you. Maybe you were monkey branched. Maybe your career was a bait and switch. Maybe the government woke you up. That is it. Not being red pill means I give my power and my life to something or someone else. Being red pill, no, I'm in control. I'm the main operant power of my life. I'm putting myself first. I'm chasing excellence. Did I sum it up? Did I say red pill is only about women? No, I said red pill is about the awareness. Something has happened that woke you up that says, I'm now first. Most people come to the red pill because of a relationship. Hope that helps, Gare. I don't deal with the public other than book signings and visiting universities. Do most work online and from home offices. I couldn't last a week in corporate environment. Tuwara 7 textbook. Those cannot be easy to write. You must have a very sophisticated analytical brain. Frosty. Never married, best thing I ever did. Well, you saved yourself quite a bit of heartache and money and potential, saved yourself years of frustration. Read Rollo Tomasi's book. It's a philosophy for understanding than any movement. Correct. To me, that's what Red Pill is. It's awakening to your potential power versus giving your power away. Lisa Smith wants to work for John Boston. John is out in Boston, kicking it. What do you think of San Diego? I grew up and I love San Diego, specifically La Jolla, Del Mar, Encinitas. When I go to San Diego for work, I stay in Del Mar by Solano Beach. And the little Marriott there, because there's a wonderful Thai restaurant right next door, and the beach is very close. I do love San Diego. It's one of my favorite cities of all of California. I love downtown, Gaslamp, Little Italy. I mean, San Diego is so cool that if there was no taxis or rental cars, you could walk to the city. I mean, it's cool. Good for you, North South. Never seen one couple happily married in my surroundings. Have you seen those couples? Very, very few couples I have seen that are happy. Especially go out to dinner and watch. See if you can find happy couples that are literally genuine in love, unless they're on a first date and they're, excited to see each other. Red Mind Man, there's characteristics of so-called traditional conservatives where the powerful males enable female bad behavior by crushing less powerful males if those lesser males challenges the females. So very interesting. I think that happens in the primate community as well. Akash Patil, Red Pill question, sir, out of context. Do you think COVID-19 is a scam? I believe that it was man-made. I believe that there is something about it that does not make sense. I do not believe, and where the society has gone in a year and 3 months is crazy. The amount of control and power that has come about it, it does not sit right to me. Does not sit right. The females run the show in traditional conservative circles. I have seen that in some certain religious groups. Does your family receive your beliefs or thoughts? Red pill is truth. Blue pill is lie. One of the good things about Muslim country is that you are given a choice whether you want to live single or whether you want a relationship. It's up to you. Well, interesting. That's something I learned. Family thinks I'm insane and we don't get along. Jawara, does the family want you back on the plantation, as Coach Greg Adams says? Do they want you to be, obviously you've written 7 books, you're successful, you've achieved great success in your young life, but do they want you back in that communita, as Greg Adams talks about? Shiglizzy, the red pill does Shiglizzy. I like that. The red pill definitely opened my eyes. I think you're absolutely right. Tell me where you're from. And second of all, it opens tons of people's eyes. And part of it, most of it comes from female nature, a breakup of some sort, or a monkey branch, or a hypergamous, or a female nature. Maybe some of it might be on the woman's side where their man cheats on them. We're also part of the equation. But that's the reality. It does definitely opens your eyes, and it basically tells you you have not put yourself first for so many years or so much time. You have allowed a female or a relationship or a career or a family member to dictate your life. That's it. That is all the red pill is to me. Once you awaken to your first and you chase purpose, you will succeed. And you got to create that mental bank account right here every single day. So you think I'm bitter or jaded and somehow ignore what I mentioned previously that are now being revealed as facts. Frustrating when they're all blue-pilled. And you cannot, Carl, you cannot tell them anything. They have to be woken up because they just look at us as nuts. I have friends, male friends, that are saying to me, you got to go find a lady to get married. Spend, almost 7 years. Really? They're shaming me because I'm not married, because I'm not in the misery soup that they are. And they basically want validation for their shitty marriage by everybody else getting married. As a chimp is having a kid outweighs the disadvantages of being married. Well, having children in today's world is not recommended because of the courts. Now, I'm not sure what it's like in India, But here in the US, it's very risky to have a child with a female, and when the state or the courts can potentially alienate you and basically ruin you. Now, ruin is a state of mind. You can come back. People have done it. Look at Coach Greg Adams, lived out of his car. You can bounce back, but it is very damaging. I'm not sure about India. As an honorary visiting professor, the number of questions from students is, why aren't you married with children? First of all, I want to be a student in Jawara's class. That would be great. I'm going to show up someday and just sit in the back with my hat. Anyone follow the Molly Martin story? She killed her hubby. I've heard about it, don't know much about it, but I wonder why. Beauty X equals good character. MGTOW absolute knowledge. Laying it down to Chinatown. Check out his channel. He's got some good stuff, guys. MGTOW absolute knowledge. Shout out. How about having a kid without being married? That I also think is dangerous and risky, because some Karen, some Linda down the street could call the authorities and say that could really put you in a spin. So I'm not a big fan of the surrogate stuff. Men think to fulfill his role as a man is to get married and have children. It was, but no more. Well said, Carl. It was, but no more. And I'm not anti-kids. I'm saying huge risks, potentially very little rewards. Now, I could be totally wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. Everything I've said on all these videos. I hope I'm proven wrong. Even if you have a kid in a third world country, she'll find you and drain your assets. We have one that's in here, Don't Quit Persevere. He's on the East Coast, I think New Jersey, and his baby mama is down in like Trinidad or the Dominican or somewhere down there, and does the same thing, holds that baby as hostage and drains his assets. Marcella and Rad, you are smart for not getting remarried. From what I've gathered, it sounds like you are living the life. I'll be in Park City this weekend riding my bike, Marcella. But no, I just think that, getting remarried in my life, I've just looked at the issues, and my first marriage did a doozy on me. I have friends that run out and remarry within months, less than 6 months. You got to take self-introspection and say, hey, what do I really get out of the value of being with a woman? Now, do I say that all relationships are bad? No. Am I a fatalist? No. I'm not a fatalist in the sense that I'm not 100% correct on anything. But in this area of life, I'm about 98% correct that woman would have to bring considerable amount of value. And I just haven't come across one, nor am I seeking it. But thanks for that comment, Marcella. As always, I'm very thankful for my child. However, if I could go back and do it over, I would opt to remain single. I won't try to change it now that I have a child. They are wonderful. Well, your reality is true. I've thought that as well. It would be a lot easier for them not to go back and forth and the pain that they went through. Barely Good Tennis, a strong and determined single male is the biggest challenge to those who want power. And that is what Red Pill does. It wakes us up. Let me tell you my story, says Shy Glizzy. I'm grateful my parents raised me red-pilled and stayed married until my dad died. Until death do us part. Used to mean something. Damn right it did. Sounds like you came from a very solid family. The 7 books are regular commercial books. The college textbooks are different versions and a separate deal. College book tours are fun and like $800 an hour. Dang. Killing it. Got to be smart, though, what you're doing. Jimmy Baller, most males were turned into incels, but Red Pill saves. Couldn't be more correct than that statement right there. Lived there 30 years in San Diego. My life was a vacation. I would love to have like a little Vespa living in San Diego, going to the beach, zipping in and out of the streets. There's some great restaurants in Gaslamp. Oh, man. I don't teach, just a visiting professor there for book signings and Q&A. How's Suzanne? I haven't seen Suzanne. I hope she's doing well. I know she was having some health issues. We'll see what up. Having a child without being married is possibly a selfish move against the child. Children do best in a stable family with one mother and father. I would agree 100%. Hefe Salcero says, terrible decision to get remarried. Not a wise one, especially in my age group. I also have children. They are wonderful. I love them all, but probably 95% of all divorced single men would probably not do it again. I would agree with that statement. I'm still looking for that time machine. And it's going to come. I just know it someday. And Biden just announced the Pulse Club in Florida is now a national monument. Jeez. What an idiot. What an idiot. Common mistake is to conflate beauty with good character, which sucks because no one wants some nice, ugly chick either. And we don't want a pretty bitch. You know? All I care about is traditional values, which is a total pipe dream at this point, where the woman respects the man and the man would respect the woman. It's a very simple formula. Show appreciation, intimacy, and respect for your man, and you'll have everything under the sun. I know one couple that does that, and she's very gorgeous. She worships the man. She's never had to beg for anything. He's had a great career, and they do very well together because she knows the recipe. Now, regardless if it works. He's taken care of, she's taken care of. In my surrounding, if any woman does single crap to a guy, he never gets married after that. Yeah. But there's a lot of simps that will still get remarried. In San Diego, we never had shoes and shirts on. You know what else I like about San Diego? Everyone wears Vans and rides the beach cruisers. Totally cool. Mike McGill's ramp is in Encinitas. Carl, out dealing with the corporate world must be hell. It's not fun, that's for sure. 100% agree, but marriage, in my opinion, is not mandatory. When I say not being married, I mean being in a relationship with a mother, just not being married, says Bolev. Well said. There are only risk and no rewards for men in divorce. Very risky, guys. Never going to get married or have a kid, not going to sacrifice my quality of life. Marcella is 24. Marcella, you are down in an area where people get married quickly. Why have you not found a young returned missionary to get married to? And why have you, 24 in Utah County is quite young. Or actually quite old, and most people get married around the ages of 20. So I'm curious, have you not found anyone? Or do you just agree that there's not potential rewards? Where are you at? How does Rad deal with corporate America? I'm like an actor. That's how I do it. I think about what I need to do, get my job done, go in and close the deal. And I deal with lots and lots of females that are in high powers of authority with emotional spaghetti brains. So I have to bite my tongue a lot. Both Rad and I are in healthcare, gynocentric. Oh, geez, is it not, Carl? Are you kidding me? It is massively. You're dealing, especially in the departments I deal with. Oh yeah. And in some departments, in some large hospitals, especially in San Diego, 95% of all the workers are female. And it is, even in like, when I'm presenting to 15, 20 of them, it's like there's infighting, like you wouldn't believe. One says something, the other one and another gal will fight. It's female nature is real, guys. And it's usually the pretty lady that says something and the ugly gal that doesn't like her because she's not very attractive. But to be clear at this point, I do not recommend marriage, LTR, or cohab, so I guess my point is pointless. Well, it's not, people say, you're so misogynist, you hate women. I don't hate women. I love women. Women are wonderful. I'm just not convinced that a LTR, cohab, or marriage, for me, is worth it. I've been through the courts. I've been through what it's like to have children. I've been married. I was with my ex for 22 years between the engagement, dating, and marriage. I know what it's like. It never got better, guys. People grow apart. Female nature, male nature. Even with kids. I mean, my sons are, they're old enough, but I need my time alone too to recharge. And they're my flesh and blood. So you're right. Prove to me that an LTR, a cohab, or a marriage there's more rewards than risks, and I will listen to you. I just haven't found it. Now, are there good women out there? Sure. But the majority is not. The majority is conditioned and programmed based on the last 60, 70 years. It's as simple as that. I'm tempted to save a hot young Starbucks barista. Just short-term only, Jawara. That's what you got to do, brother. Sounds like you stand to make a ton of money, crazy, powerful spaghetti holding that green. There's good money in healthcare, but it's like anything, you have to be on your game, and you deal with frustrations like the rest of us. Making a buck is not easy for anybody, but you can do it, and it's all mindset. The free agent's lifestyle is exactly what Brother Coach talks about. It's sad that even LTRs aren't even worth pursuing, let alone the debacle of marriage. I always say this: tell me how you're going to maintain the dopamine. Because if you find a way to maintain dopamine in a relationship, that's probably the best way it'll go, of the potential of a future relationship. But dopamine wears off very quickly. To end that topic, if you really want children, I totally understand. It is risky. It's a big responsibility. So if you can't help it, just don't get married. It is difficult raising kids. I did 3 of them. Luckily, my ex was a wonderful mother in the very early stages of life, up to about the age of 12, 13 of my daughter. She was definitely, I would not pick another woman to have babies with if I didn't know this knowledge. So I do give her props for that. Now, some women are not good mothers, but I was lucky to have a really good one. T-Talk Selbag, getting tangled up with a woman is no way worth a few seconds of pulsating gland chance. Ain't that the truth? Post-nut clarity. Free will is a powerful thing, says Lisa. I'd agree with you 100%. If a woman is not from Africa, Are Toro Kasili, Asia, the Middle East, or Eastern Europe, she's not a wife, just a concubine. And those countries are now even getting less and less. So we'll have to see what happens, but very well said. One of my friends who works in corporate said to me that they promote female in high positions for political reasons. Same thing here. Manoj, same thing. If you knew about MGTOW when you were 19, would you get married, and how different your life would be? I would love to have known. I mean, being 23 like yourself, you, my friend, have a great life ahead of you. If I would have known what I know, I'm sure I would have made much different decisions. Take it from these guys like myself and John Boston, Timmy Kramer, Carl, everybody else in this chat that's been through or been through. Red Mind Man, Father Saunders. It's just not, you're much better off knowing what you know now. 1911 caller, a swipe on Tinder is all it takes to end a marriage relationship and your potential life. Put it on hold. You're absolutely right, MGTOW, absolutely. Seen it happen. What's up, Brad? I'm 40 and solitude can be addictive. I find it hard to keep a woman around for more than sex, Dark Minds. Well, I don't think you're wrong. What does she bring to the table besides her body? Tell me what she brings to the table besides her beauty and her intimacy. And then maybe she could stick around. But it's very difficult to find out what else they bring. There's very, very few women that are even worth entertaining. Is Carl married with children? Carl was married but has no kids. Here in Milwaukee, 99.9% of women are feminists and liberals, says David Castro. And then the feminist movement is getting bigger and bigger and bigger everywhere. Which brings me to my next point. Why in the hell would a liberal woman want a liberal man? A liberal man is a weak, victim-minded, argumentative, and has feminine qualities. How is that attractive to a woman? I don't get it. I have sat across from tables with liberal feminists in downtown Salt Lake, and have asked me if I voted for Trump, which I show them my ballot on my phone, and I said I voted for him twice. And they, like, literally, they're deer in headlights, but at the end of the night, they want to go home with me. Most of them they're so dumb I can't even entertain them anymore. But other than that, just them saying that, it's almost as though they have to play that card or something. I don't know. You're right, David. You can delete Europe off your list, says Bull Left. Divorce, no kids, although she did try and baby trap me by going off birth control without telling me because she wanted it to be a surprise. That's what happened to me. Still took half my home and a lot of money, says Carl. Marcella, I went to college in New Mexico. Not very many LDS guys there. That's why I decided to move to Utah. I've never had a boyfriend, but I still have faith I will find a good LDS man. Well, I hope you do. A lot of these return missionaries are beginning to leave the faith. There's a lot of emasculation with these guys, especially up in Davis County. So I hope that you're able to find somebody that is traditional. Bolef, did you bleed when you dodged that bullet? Guess you didn't hire Gregory's attorney. I'm grateful, as it could have been much worse. Still set me back a decade and loss of stock gains. You know, I've been able to recover. I recovered pretty quick, but it was still a recovery nonetheless. If a woman was not raised with her father in the home, run away fast. Number one red flag right there, Ade Toro. Agree with you 100%. Gregory's attorney spanked in the courts. Well, he went for a cheap guy. That's his problem. You got to go. Let me give you guys some advice. If you're ever in legal trouble, criminal, civil, whatever, a dog bite, you get the best bulldog attorney, the most expensive. That is your only protection. You go with a cheap dude, that's what you're going to get. It's as simple as that. I got the most biggest, baddest bulldog, most expensive attorney, which I could have bought a brand new 2021 Carrera S Turbo for what I paid for my divorce. I'm giving you some advice. Don't get married. Don't cohab. And make sure you have intimacy agreements. State law, brother, doesn't matter if you know it or not. Put a woman. State law, says Donnie Baker. Black Pill Neo, Folsom and Roseville is a very nice area. Expensive nowadays. Practically impossible to buy a house in that area. Worst injury, skateboarding. I never broke anything. I remember did an invert on this X Games ramp, and I overextended and I fell about 10 feet. Landed on my side, bruised. The bruise was like all the way down my leg, but luckily I didn't hurt myself. That was probably the worst. Never broke any bones. But Roseville and Folsom were nice back in the day. Yeah, that was 20 years ago. And now it's extremely expensive. El Dorado Hills was just getting going when I was out there. On the deed of your house, and the state thinks it's a gift, even though she didn't pay 1 cent. Isn't that interesting, Carl? I was against the girl power attitude feminist before I got married. I made the horrible miscalculation of believing many women still defied their nature. Well, I don't think you're wrong. And that was at age 23. Feminist movement is promoted by corporate as well. In some of their tests, they program men to treat women better than man and discard a qualified candidate to make a place for women. I remember having to take Manoj video. I had to take education about workplace dynamics, and it was geared for men treating women bad. So you're right. MGTOW Mojo, I believe in masculinity, has been deliberately weakened to prevent an uprising and push back against the elites in their quest for world domination. Men are too weak and stand against our enemy. You're not far from the truth, brother. If you trip on someone's sidewalk, you might get millions of dollars. One of my good friends I ride mountain bikes is a basic dog attorney, a dog bite attorney. He gets $200,000 for a dog bite. $200,000, not for him. He'll get the settlement of two. You get bit by a dog, go get an attorney, get 200 grand. Is basically what he says. Crazy. Do you invest in the S&P 500? I have. Mm-hmm. It's a good index. It's proven over time, 10 to 12% gain. Ask Carl about the S&P. Dark minds, women should stop looking for relationships and boyfriends and focus on bringing value to the family they join. I would agree. Of course, masculinity has been weakened. Just watch outside your window and look how many stretch pants are wearing. Drive me nuts. I only like Lululemon or Lululemon, whatever that brand is on women. I don't like any other stretch pant. If they can wear Lululemon, they look great. Other than that, most of them are lazy. So many millions of divorced women stealing the marital home. Mine did, but the marital home got sold. Stretch pants and long socks with turtles printed on it drives me nuts. Turtles are little butterflies. Is MGTOW black pill or red pill? Mohammed Farhan. Good to have you. Again, MGTOW is just a belief that you put yourself, it can be both, I think. If you want to follow the pill analogy, it's putting you first and foremost center as the operant power of your life. So I can go both ways, or the same way. I think you're right in trying to divide the races for easier control instead of the populace controlling the government BS what we have today. Coach Greg thrown out of the marital home and forced to live in a vehicle. I don't think he chose very well either of his ladies. Lululemon is the only yoga pants I like on a woman. Rad, you skateboard. I've met and took pictures with Paul. Oh, P-Rod. Danny Way and I used to skate back in the late 80s. And Bam Margera. Too bad about Bam. Bam was a really innovative skater who was falling prey to addiction. But P-Rod's still good. Don't know Trent. There's a lot of new skaters out there. I was, again, late 80s, mid to late 80s, about age 15. So that's when Danny was a year and a half younger than me. Danny grew up in Vista, California. His brother Damon started DC Shoes with Ken Block. Damon Way. Damon and Danny. Check out his video on Riding the Lightning, I think, on Netflix. It's a documentary on his life. Very good. Yes, I skateboard. MGTOW or red pill, there is no black pill. Yeah, I don't understand that. If FJT was here, he could tell us what up. How can a dog bite get you $200K if the irresponsible dog mom is broke? Comes off the renter or homeowner's insurance. California is liberal trash and New York is a liberal cesspool now. Florida has no jobs. Texas is the only state for a man to live. Florida has no jobs. Do you think it's because a lot of New Yorkers moved there rich, or it's because a lot of old people? And it's obviously a tourist destination. Cost your savings into VTR, VOO, set and forget. Time in the market is better than timing the market. Well said, Carl. Red pill is enough to go MGTOW. Again, MGTOW is putting and I've done videos where I've said it's a philosophy. I think it's a philosophy in the sense that you put yourself first and you chase excellence. I'm on the freeway heading north, listening to all this wisdom. Timmy Kramer in the house. I'm coming through your radio. Love it. We are in Timmy's car. Lou Hellickson, the honeymoon stage is the incline of a roller coaster. Then it levels off, which is expected. But once at its peak, you start going downhill. As much as you try, you cannot return to the top. Gravity wins 100% of the time. Well said, Lou. Brad, care to elaborate what you meant by intimacy agreements? Is this to avoid false grape? Yes. In terms of, could be intimate text messages between each of you. I can't wait to see you. Kissy kissy emoji she sends, things like that. That peanut butter she's always buying for her dog is expensive. You know who used his prepaid legal plan? I wish he would listen to other content creators. Look, I listen to everyone that comes in here. I get as much benefit as everybody else does. But the reality is, if you're not listening to other perspectives, you're pigeonholed yourself. It has nothing to do with keeping your content real or not real. It's reality. We learn from each other. That's like saying, You as a pro basketball team won't watch the tapes of any other games because you want to keep your plays to yourself. Doesn't make any sense. Breakdown on the black pill. If you're hideous and have money, she'll cheat with a better looking dude on the down low. MGTOW absolute knowledge, laying some truth. Red pill is creating an updated blueprint for men to follow. The old simping script doesn't work anymore. Well says Dark Mind. Do you own a truck or a motorcycle? I had a motorbike. I do not have one anymore, but I have a Toyota 4Runner. No truck, it won't fit in my garage. It's too long. But if I did get a truck, probably an F-150. I'm afraid the simping script or a Toyota Tundra. I'm afraid the simping script will never go away. No, it won't. It's here to stay. What do you think of various prepaid legal service and economic? Look, I don't believe in that. You get what you pay for. The dog pill. When I was a kid, I found my mother's diary and my dad got pissed and beat her ass and went to jail, lived in a car. Yeah, I wonder what that diary said. I can't imagine. I've been told that if they have a dog, it's a red flag. No, I wouldn't disagree with that. The Martin Goldberg YouTube channel provides a more black pill perspective. Some of his criticism of well-known red pill is similar to some of Brad's viewpoints. Again, this is what I think. If you put yourself and your desires and your goals and what you want to achieve in life first, who cares if you're red pill or black pill? That just means no one is getting in the way of that. Not a relationship, not a woman, not a marriage, not a boss, not a family member, not a career. Not even a place in the country to live. You have now unlocked the pigeonhole, and now you are the main creative force in your life. That, to me, is what we're talking about. Call it black pill, red pill. It goes back to, do some men lay with women or not lay with women? I think that's the differentiator. Lisa Smith in the Army, they taught us to learn from all leaders, even the bad ones. Teach you what not to do. I would agree. I think everyone is a teacher in some form or fashion in someone's life, regardless if they're good or bad. Are you able to send a donation? I could send a donation, but he's always traveling. It doesn't seem like he needs the money. And I don't think his advice should be paid for. He should freely give it away, unless you buy one of his courses or his t-shirt. I'd retire, expat to Colombia, Southeast Asia, Portugal, or Mexico, but feel we're just beginning a huge decline. For you younger gens, there's an opportunity to keep investing and average in at lower prices. I think, even living the van life would probably be something because of the freedom you get with it. But I would agree, Colombia and Mexico, even Portugal. Actually, all those areas are very enticing. Don't let them big tatties on your gal make you commit to her, says Auditorial. Men are blinded by physicality, that's for sure. We are visual creatures. Bad leaders are great teachers indeed. The dog pill, trading slurps for food. This new case in Indonesia, there's one divorced couple. Their house was built on the wife's family land, but the house that was built was the husband. Then he demolished the house. Did you hear about that guy that was going through divorce and he went and took a chainsaw to everything in the house? He cut the couch in half, he cut the table in half, he cut the computer. Because again, she gets half, so why not cut it? Made it easy. Passport bros, you can live in 90% of the countries on $1,000. Absolutely. That husband is gangsta. Demolished the house. Did you watch the movie Fight Club, and what life philosophy did you get from the movie? I did watch Fight Club. That's a very interesting question. There's a lot of different elements in that movie that I thought were great. I think there's something about overcome. I think there's something about being aware. I think there's something about putting yourself first, about not getting beat down. I think there's something about how to control your inner thinking and inner validation. There's lots of great things about that. Rule number 1, don't talk about Fight Club. You need FU money for the passport style. Just work and save up 150 grand. You can live for 5 years in Mexico easily, if not 10. What's funny is I was going to provide a life of international travel. To my ex-girlfriend, she'll now likely work for the next 25 years. They want the white picket fence and the box wine. Dollar cost average in investments every pay cycle. Yep. Be whether conservative or whatever, liberal in your investing, but continue to invest. He brought out all the wood from that house because in here wood is more expensive. That dude is gangster. Dog pill is real, says women drive like dog shit. And portfolio allocation and low investment fees are key. And what now? Does he have to go to jail? Well, if it's his house, why would he have to, right? But you never know. The courts might get involved and say he was violent. I heard about a guy whose house mysteriously burnt down without the homeowner's insurance after he realized she was going to get it. Since he had a reliable alibi, nothing she could do. Brad has spoken about the challenge of maintaining frame in an LTR. Rollo and Rich promote the necessity of frame. Easier said than done. And Rollo and Rich speak about betadization and LTR. I used to watch Richard Cooper. I thought he does have some very good points in some of his videos, and I will not deny that. I have read Rational Male. I don't believe that frame exists because it takes 3 digits on your phone to completely demolish frame, and it takes you going to a courthouse, regardless if you did nothing wrong, for a judge to remove all of the frame from your life. That is why I don't believe in frame. And hypergamy does not care about frame when there's a bigger and better option. Really, what they're talking about is you be stoic, you don't be chasing her so that she has to chase you. It's basically I think for them, frame is push and pull. You pull away as they push to you. That's frame. If you push to them, they pull away. That is the only way I can think that frame exists. You act indifferent. They take a dog over a sub-7 male. I like Jericho Green, Carl. I think he's great. And he's in California, the most liberal state of them all. The $20, it's called, what the name is that? Tactical soap? It's got pheromones in it. I guess if you use your body with it, you can go and there's pheromones. Now, CK1 and Christian Usavage has what's called Hedione. It's spelled, I'll write it down, Hedione. It is a little chemical within certain colognes that has a aphrodisiac type of deal. So go buy that, it'll last forever instead of a $20 soap. I honestly think frame misses the point. It doesn't account for her fickle nature. 100%. Frame assumes she is a slave to her biology and therefore more controllable. Sometimes they pull a 180. I believe it's push and pull. That's all relationships are. The moment you like a girl, she's out the door. Bad behavior is celebrated by all in this matrix of illusion. Remain stoic and push through, says Slam Cave. Again, Hedione. If you want to go that route, read about it. Jeremiah Babe and Bull Boom Bear Bust are my top channels. Bull Boom Bear Bust, love it. Imagine wifing up Monica Lewinsky. She'll never get a makeout ever again. Well, who's she going to go after now? The guy that she was with was Bill Clinton, the president of the free world. Who does she date now? Mitch McConnell? Joe Biden? I don't even think she's got a boyfriend. Can you imagine even being her boyfriend? She would compare you to Bill Clinton all day long. Stoicism or frame doesn't provide the tingles after she's been with you for a while. Hence the dopamine void. I imagine the only reason Rollo's wife is still there is for the children and due to older age, less options. Ka-ching. Well said, Mr. Carl. I would agree with you. She knows she is washed up at this point. Yes, you like her and you failed biologically because you fell for her, meaning you're weak and conquered. There's no more chase, right? So in that regards, if you're indifferent the whole time, she's constantly seeking your attention. Hence, you have her a little bit of her attention, but that can change immediately. I think the movie The Game has this great quote, I was once blind, now I can see. Are you talking about The Game with Michael Douglas and Sean Penn? That is an amazing movie. Glad you brought that up, Bolef. I've seen that about 5 times. You know what else is a good movie? It's called The Third Dimension with Vincent D'Onofrio. The third something. Even Inception's great. Monica Lewinsky took the dog pill or paid for Ultra Giga Chad. Ralph Lauren Polo must have that hormone thing mastered. Man, that stuff puts me in a trance. That used to be really popular in the early 90s. It might have Hedione in it. You never know. Let's see. He not in jail because that is his right. And fun fact, the resident helped demolish the house. Residents say the husband is a good person and his wife cheated. Well, he took it back to his own power. Good for him. Yes, Douglas and Penn. Great movie. Very good movie. The Game. I'm surprised that somebody recognized that. Let me see what the third... what is it? I got to look at Vincent D'Onofrio. Okay, let's look at his filmography. That is it's called The Third Something. And we'll check it out here. Okay, let's just get down here. We'll check this out. But that is the reality. Frame does not exist with certain elements. Right? Oh, where is it? This is annoying. Okay. He was also in Full Metal Jacket. I'll figure this out in a second. Okay. Where are we at here? We are down at... What are some of your favorite movies? I like Cool Hand Luke with Paul Newman, 1968. I like all of James Dean's films, East of Eden, Giant, and Rebel Without a Cause. New movies, I like, obviously, Shawshank Redemption, even Office Space. I like a lot of Rockies and Rambos. Liam Neeson does great films. I'm a big fan of Christian Bale, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Tom Hardy has got some good stuff. Generally, motivation in men generates from external validation from women and society, but MGTOW is about internal. Very well said. This is the awareness that we put ourselves first. My nature doesn't want to be indifferent to her. I want to connect. It may be impossible to connect permanently. Wrestling with this. That's absolutely correct, Red Mind Man. Very well said. Good insight. You're constantly wrestling with the idea that can be sustained. The same quote is mentioned in Red Pill movie that I was watching. Falling Down with Michael Douglas is a classic MGTOW movie. Don't quit, persevere. 100%, brother. Good to have you. Thanks for the recommendation. Just recommend you take a look at Heritage Wealth Planning. I think you mentioned that before. I've subbed to Jeremiah Babe of Palm Springs and Bull Boom Bear Bust for 3 years. Great channels on the topic of our economic decline. Check out Big John's channel, The Prepared Mind, as well. Food is going up. I noticed that today. I guess I have to think about moving to Indonesia. That sounds good to me. Cool Hand Luke is my favorite. Cool Hand Luke is the quote from Civil War with Guns N' Roses. You know, what we have here is failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach, so you get what we had here last week, which is the way he get. That's the Cool Hand Luke. That's the movie. Did you hire a financial planner, money manager, or handle your own affairs? What about Rad? My uncle is my manager. Works for Northwestern. By the way, Indonesian women are absolutely gorgeous. Just want to point that out. I would agree. I wrestle with the idea of marriage laws. Ah, that's funny. I wrestle with the idea of marriage. Marriage lost. That is funny. Okay, I gotta find this movie that D'Onofrio did. All right, I think it's right here. Basically, they go back. They get in this little like contraption, and they go back in time, and it's different reality. And there's a murder that happens, and it's all basically we're creating this world. It's got pieces of the Matrix, mental stuff. It's got the 13th floor. That's it. The 13th floor, not the 13th dimension. So there you go. Check that movie out. Great movie. Back in the 90s. But a lot of elements of the Matrix, quantum physics, female nature, you name it. Kay is in the house. Good to see you. Glad to have you here. Somebody recommended the Paul Newman autobiography to me. It's great. I think Paul Newman had some good stuff. The extreme in some places in Indonesia, if someone is having cheated, even though they have a married partner, then they are stoned to death. Jeez, that's biblical stuff. There are two types of motivation. Internal is something that you want to do, and external motivation is all about the reward, mostly monetary. You need both to succeed. There might be value in that, especially in the internal. The Cell, saw The Cell? I think that was a J-Lo, right? I'm all self-directed. I watch several financial channels, but my favorite is the Kendall Report. Okay, there you go. You've seen the 13th floor. It's great. So this is what we're talking about, guys. Giving women, making an excuse for their bad behavior is the worst thing you can do, because the bad behavior is going to repeat. And why do we do that? Because we have a fading effect bias. We tend as humans, our psychology, to omit, the word omit, the bad behavior or past misdeeds of someone in our life. It can be it basically happens with politics. We forget all the crap that, Obama or Clinton or whomever did. And we look at them back, oh, they were great. Really? So there you go. They weren't great. It was just our fading effect bias removed those bad behaviors in those situations that were not favorable. And that is why men excuse bad behavior. It's happening. I see it all the time with my friends. In fact, when I first was going through what I was going through before we got divorced, I would excuse her bad behavior as well. She's angry because she's menopausal, or she's angry she's on her period. She's angry she had a bad day at work. Well, that doesn't make it right if she's angry at me and taking all of the, and vice versa. So there you go. Christopher Hendricks is in the house. Good to have you, brother. Dating coach Mr. Licorio has a video called There's No Such Thing as Female Nature. Oh, interesting. I used to use one, but found their knowledge was about on par with mine. Talking about some funds. Interesting that he says there's no such thing as female nature. Does he not understand that there's an emotional and a logical brain between the two sexes? Multi-billion-dollar books and industries have been written, and we're still no further ahead than we were since the days of Adam and Eve. There is a different technology and operating system between the sexes. So interesting he would say that. I theorize about black versus red pill. Both are confronted with the same reality. One responds by improving their self. One responds by despairing because they don't know how. I don't think you need my thoughts there, brother. I completely agree with that. Completely 100% agree. Females are very good at throwing away something solidly good for the mere whiff of something potentially better. And I think that's why relationships continue to fall apart. There's always a greener pasture. Well, figuratively. Marcella N. Never make excuses for their bad behavior. Hold them accountable on both sides of the fence, both male and female. Well said. Women and accountability. Very, very few will take accountability. My buddy said his wife apologized profusely the other day, and I literally fell off my chair. T-Talk L-Bags is saying 100% the truth. Females are good at throwing away something good for the mere whiff of something potentially better. We should have a Hall of Fame of red pill quotes, and that should be in it. Mr. Licorio is a married dating coach. He is only 3 digits away from his life becoming opened. Shawshank Redemption is all-time great, surprisingly protagonistic. Into that jail because of his wife. More reason to go MGTOW. Another good film is Gone Girl and Acrimony, the black movie called Acrimony. Upfront and personal female nature in both. Like oil and water, says Sexy Lamb, and it just does, relationships seem to be oil and water. Christopher Hendricks, where are you? I think you remember telling us where you're from. If she don't cook, clean, or take in the back door, she gotta go. You'd be surprised at how many women don't know how to cook. You'd be surprised at how many women don't clean their houses or their cars. But then again, you'd be surprised about, issues with guys and men, right? And for the most part, there's douchebags on our side and there's female nature on the other. And we navigate life through understanding it, not hating it. My ex had a post on her Instagram from one of my favorite musicians, John Butler. The grass is always greener, but it's just tough to mow. Yet still wanted to chase that tingle. The grass is only greener where you water it. Other than that, it's brown. Tried to water it. Needed another partner to help pull the weeds on both sides of the fence, but it didn't work. But it did not work. So what do we do going forward? Where do we put the emphasis? The emphasis should be on our life, chasing excellence, chasing purpose, stacking money, learning new hobbies, learning freedom, hiking, biking, playing sports, getting in touch with good men that believe what we believe, chasing something that brings us happiness and peace and value. Right? That's why we're here. We are putting ourselves first. We've been woken up to the fact that for so long we didn't put ourselves first. Someone else was in front of us or something, and we suffered. And now we're putting what we believe our lives back together by chasing our own purpose and excellence and not letting anybody else deter us from that outcome. Originally from Utah, Christopher Hedricks. What part of Utah? I am up in Davis County. Good to have you. I have a new neighbor. She's liberal, don't like cooking, and is a dog mom. That sounds like every other woman. Don't quit, persevere. What about intentionally cooking a tasteless meal? That's what my mom does whenever I get into a fight with her and my father was defending her and was putting me in my place. People take their aggressions out in different ways, right? If you aren't the devil, you aren't bad boy enough. Even 666 isn't bad good enough. $6-pack, $6, six-figure. Well said, Red Mind. Gone Girl, that film makes me effing sick. How about when Doogie Howser got deleted? Which is funny because he's doing a sex scene with her. What is it, Rosalind Pike? And we know how Doogie Howser turned out. I have a long list of she's got to go. Funny. In here is the law of a woman. Woman's money is her own and husband's money is her too. Mohammed Farhan. Same thing in the United States. I was talking to my buddy about that today. Her money is her money, but your money is hers. Very similar. It's typically how men, that's what we provide and protect that way. The grass is always greener until it isn't anymore, says Bolef. Well said. Would you ever hire a hot exotic sugar baby? No. Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? A lot of the young Mormon couples these days have dogs, no kids, and get divorced 2 years later. I would agree with you. So you're down in Utah County. Are you working for a company down there? Do you live with roommates that are women that are getting married soon? What's it like? My kid's in Orem, over by UVU. Minimalistic lifestyle is surprisingly cool. We don't need a lot to do anything. We don't need much. Men are very simple. She's got to go list has become way longer than her cosmetics want list. Very funny. I purposely binge watched Gone Girl and the Red Pill movie back to back with my ex. She didn't get any of it and just focused on how the characters must have felt. Well, would you expect a different outcome, Carl? I think that's 99% of them. She probably said that who was the character? Ben Affleck. He was an asshole. So she did what she did to protect herself. That's a great movie on an Acrimony. I'm going to post that movie right here. You guys want a great movie on female nature and simping and what happens? Right here. Acrimony. All black characters. Very well done. Less is more. Less is 100% more. And finally, I realized that women are very unfair. They're just run by a different operating system, Mohammed. We don't hate it. We just understand it. I'm now considering Thailand, and when I was in Portugal in 19, Eastern European women were so much fun to talk and date. Unfortunately, only there for a month. Yeah. Marcella seems cool and chill. I think Marcella is one of the better ones that I talk about. How do you know when to cut your losses with a girlfriend? When it becomes too hard to manage and to make her happy. When constant iterations of arguments and walking on eggshells and frustration and really truly hoping that nothing crappy comes up. But good luck, dopamine's worn off. Your ex sounds like a real doorknob, but that's how most of them roll. My mom used to call this one girlfriend I had a total doorknob. That's funny. Men are simple. As a man, I truly believe I could be just as happy in a small apartment as I would be in a large house, maybe even happier in a smaller place. Well, I moved from a 5,100 square foot, half acre marital house to a 1,900 square foot, 3-story house. And I think it's about 1,200 square feet too big. And that was the smallest house I could find. So you're absolutely right, F.A. Salcero. My ex used to get angry at me for appreciating red pill characters. The hive mind is real and in effect. It's in effect. She disrespects you. Welcome. It's over at that point when the disrespect comes in. It's not love. It's trouser turbulence. Or as I call it, the game of friction with Levi's. I heard Thailand is mostly trans. That's what they say. Remember that movie, Hangover? If you understand women, you can't love them. Sad but true. Not even sad really anymore. Well, I just think once you realize that the love between a man and a woman are completely different, then you don't have to stress out about trying to make someone love you. You just know it's going to be difficult. I saved up money before I came here, before I was working as a scribe in an ER. I lived with my cousin. Well, I'm glad that, you're part of the group and you're doing what you think is right. As soon as you ask that question, so right now. Yeah, once the disrespect and dopamine's worn off, I would just look at a dopamine. If you don't still have the same butterflies, it's never going back, just like Dark Mind said. Or no, who was it? About the roller coaster analogy, once at the top, you can never get back. Hope the women in the chat go down the right road. So do I. I'm actually still separated from my house and haven't divorced my wife. She said she wanted to take care of the divorce, but I accidentally saw it. Looks like she was pregnant, but definitely not my child. Dang. Sorry, brother. Not sure if you have kids or not, but if you don't, make sure you find out who's the father. She was actually more different than most women, but unfortunately, female nature does not change. Add in a narcissistic mother, and she will become her mother. Remember, women become their mothers. Boys become their fathers. She disrespects you the moment you get on one knee. It just takes a few weeks to 7 years for that disrespect to eat its way out of where her heart should be. No truer words have been said, Red Mind. It's not your job to make her happy. The only job you have is to be at peace. Your job is to be on purpose. Your job is never to put a woman central. Your purpose should be. They can be a compliment. I was giving my cousin Art red pill knowledge. My aunt was grilling a hole through me. You cannot tell anybody anything. They have to be woken up on their own organically. MGTOW absolute knowledge. She wants the D and the utility. Save me with that love BS. I always said love doesn't exist because if it did, we'd all still be married or living or in our relationships. Love could conquer everything, right? Isn't that what we were told? I spent 28 days in Thailand in 2018, and if you know which bars are what, you're good. But then again, never date a Thai bar girl. Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Electric call. I saw my ex's new boyfriend. Let's just say she was very desperate. What validation she gets when she realizes that she did not get a guy as good as you. I still get butterflies when I see her. I just feel in my gut that she doesn't love me as much. No. And that's what you got to be realistic about. The fantasy is not the reality. Men get tripped up on this fantastical version of their girlfriend or wife, which isn't real. Men on this topic are literally the worst, Lord Spawn. About excusing for bad behavior, I would agree. We men excuse too much bad behavior because, number one, we don't want to lose our investment. We're seeing through rose-colored glasses. We're saying it's our fault. We're trying to diffuse the situation very quickly. So we self-deprecate ourselves. And we blame us when there's nothing to blame. How many of you men apologize for your wife or girlfriend even though she was at fault? You sure those butterflies and cockroaches, Bolef? Absolutely. UFO Kamikaze 1, good to have you, brother. It's taking a long time for our words to get through my thick skull. What can I say? I'm a romantic. You got to write your list down, pros and cons. Cons will outweigh the pros, guarantee it. Then you accept the reality and move forward. Take the fork out of your mouth, says Lisa Smith. I can almost guarantee she knows that and will use it to her advantage. Carl. Married woman was recently flirting with me. I didn't smash. I only dashed. I dashed her hopes for a pet wallet as she smashed against the wall. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Rad, is there anything you would like to change about your life and that you believe you are capable of changing that would improve your life satisfaction or contentment? Well, currently no. Right now I'm kind of in a holding pattern since my youngest is, 2 years away from being an adult. And so that's where my purpose and my conviction is, launching him successfully as a conservative red pill boy that understands the potential pitfalls and obstacles of relationships and potential issues of choosing the wrong career. Other than that, no, I think it's good. There's things I wish I could have changed, but I'm glad that I've gone through what I've gone through because it would not have me here speaking with everybody and chatting. It's given me a perspective of life that I probably would have never have found out if I didn't go through it. So I do appreciate the awakening, which cost a ton of money in a family court system. So good question though. Here there is a name Nikah Surah, marriage that is legal in Islam but not registered in the state. So it's more of a spiritual marriage. Interesting. The vag is not worth letting her bend you over. No. If you had enough to buy a home in cash, would you do so at today's prices and volatility? I'm so conflicted. No, I would not buy a house right now. No, I bought mine, 3 years ago? And I put a significant amount down. I could have not had a mortgage, but I decided to use the 2.5% rates to invest in other things. So I would not do anything right now with housing. That's just me. Once you get past the romantic fantasy, your eyes will open and your heart will close. Well said, T-Tox. Once the dopamine wears off, it's downhill. It's the roller coaster going down the tracks. Lisa Smith, women need to be better women to get a better man. Take the fork out of your mouth and get on the treadmill. Stop assuming Prince Charming is going to fall in your lap. Well, I think that's the reality of women today, Lisa. They just believe that they just have to open their eyes and take a breath, and they've got men all over them, even the fuglies and the fatties. and the ones with massive amounts of facial clay. I don't even call it makeup. It looks like clay. Brad, are you tracking my IP ad? Christopher Hendricks. I don't even know how to do that. Family court should be called female only court. It should be called crocodile tears court. Simped out justices. Definitely don't buy a house right now, says Hefe. Post-nut clarity is a real thing, folks. Remember, every drunk man goes home with the hottest chick at night, but wakes up with the ugliest one in their bed. Did a Kevin Samuel send you to this channel? Yeah, how did Lisa find it? I think she mentioned how she found it. Family court should be called the Inquisition 2.0. Huh. You know song Slipknot stuff? I know a little Slipknot. Family Destruction Court. I also watch Kevin Samuel. Is that bad? No. Kevin Samuels wants to make women traditional again. That's all. I don't blame him for it. Good for him. His audience is different. I think he's more purple pill than anything, but hey, if he can help turn the tide of feminism and making women become feminine again, I'm all about that. Lisa Smith, Prince Charming's got a rotation of concubines. I'm a fan of Kevin Samuels. I like it how he just tells women on the carpet. Some of these women are so delusional, it's out of control. Like they really believe this 5'4" gal that was 180 thought she was a princess. He just destroyed her. He said, no, you're fat, you're heavy, you're out of shape, you're unhealthy. And that's the truth. Waking up to ugly post clay clarity. It's clay, it's not makeup. Clay. When you're desperate at the bar, you pick up a ruined cougar. Again, you go home with a hot chick and you end up with the ugliest chick in the morning. Beer goggles. When a woman takes her clothes off and makeup off, her 1 to 10 rating can change considerably. Like the prices in crypto. The uglies are princesses now and the heavies. Don't forget the heavies. I think the reason women act this way is because of simp men. Too many of these days, 80% simps and 20% alphas. I would say 95% to 5%, but you're well on the way of the larger percentage are the gumps. White knights. What's your opinion about women against feminism? I would love to see that move more and more. There are women that speak out against it. 21 Studios has a content creator that does that. Absolutely. And women are waking up to realize feminism did not sell them anything but a bag full of rocks. Women all want a $300,000 man. Ain't that the truth? There's a reason women tired have mental illness rate of 50% and the other half just haven't been diagnosed. There is a link. Post-nut clarity, post-marriage clarity. Real feminists won't hesitate to dig tunnels, fight wars, and build buildings. Real feminists, but most aren't, right? Most aren't. Most are feminists till they're not. These women, says Lone Wolf, have too many options. Good to see you, brother. I have to weigh the cost of going more into bonds and crypto. Home prices have almost tripled here in the 10 years, but low rates and market volatility keeping me making to rethink things. Well, I think we're just in a frenzy right now in every rich corner of the world. They want a $300,000 man in order to divorce and collect. It's called retirement. 21 Studios is kind of funny, but still don't trust. I think they're fine. Happily divorced and enjoying all the single life, she ended up being charged with domestic criminal trespassing for trying to come back when she found out that green grass wasn't greener. Isn't that interesting? She should have asked her friends at divorce to see if the grass was greener. What about feminism? Look like ISIS? Feminism has never proven to be a value or a boon to society, ever. It's destroyed it. The cartel didn't let feminism ruin their country. Let that sink in. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Real feminists build bridges down in Florida that collapse because of their design, but they look pretty. When the hurricane strikes, no one turns to feminism for help. Most of the guys out there are men cutting the trees down. No women want someone who makes more than $8 million a year, Jawara. I was left by one who monkey branched to $8 million a year. Man, wow. It doesn't matter. There's always a bigger, better option. So here's the deal, guys. Never excuse bad behavior. Remember the fading effect bias. The human mind tends to forget the negative, which begins after 12 hours, let's say, of a breakup. And then a week later, you start thinking about the great things and omitting the bad things. Don't get caught in that mess, right? Do not get caught in that mess. Feminism can only exist in a first world country. Well said, Lisa. I'm out. This Rebel Against Defeat, Chase Excellence, Masculinity, Men First.